Dear Leo, my radiant fire sign, the royal soul of the zodiac. Welcome. You're not here by chance. The moment you clicked on this video, something deep within you, perhaps a quiet whisper from your soul, was already seeking confirmation. A message. A shift. An answer. So let me start with this. This is not just another horoscope reading. This is your moment. Yes, you. The one who has been holding on, waiting for a sign, quietly carrying strength behind that proud smile. The universe heard your prayers. And now it is answering. Here at Eternal Mindfulness, we don't simply read cards or speak predictions. We hold space for divine timing. We witness transformation. And right now, Leo, the energy surrounding you is so powerful, so rare, that I could feel it before I even drew a single card. I see something profound on the horizon. A shift so life-changing, so filled with beauty, it may bring you to tears, but not because you're breaking. Because you're finally breaking through. And I know because I see you. You've been strong for so long. You've worn courage like a crown, even in moments when no one else noticed your silent battles. You've given your all, loved deeply, worked tirelessly, and hoped, oh, how you've hoped that something would finally give. And it will. You are standing at the edge of a brand new chapter. A chapter where abundance, clarity, healing, love, and recognition are not just possibilities but inevitabilities. You will cry, but they will be tears of joy, of release, of remembering who you are. Can you feel that? That tingling in your chest, that sense of being seen? That's your soul saying, yes, this is it. So Leo, before we dive deeper into what the cards have revealed, let me take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Your presence, your attention, your energy matters. Every like, every comment, every time you share these messages or subscribe, it brings us closer as a soul family here at Eternal Mindfulness. Your support fuels this channel, allowing these messages to reach others who need them just as much as you do. And I want you to know, from my heart to yours, I see your light. I honor your journey. And I am so glad you're here. But please don't just listen passively. This is an invitation. If this moment already speaks to your heart, if something within you says, yes, I've been waiting for this, then type "I'm ready" in the comments right now. Your words are not just pixels theory. Permission. Permission to receive. Permission to align. Permission to heal. And I promise you, what we're about to uncover today is not only magical, it's real, it's grounded, and it's yours by divine right. So stay with me, Leo. Trust your instincts. Trust this connection. Because the universe didn't bring you here for entertainment, it brought you here for alignment. Now take a deep breath. And let's step through the doorway together. Leo, you've carried so much more than the world ever saw. You were never one to beg for sympathy or ask to be saved. Instead, you became the light, sometimes too early, often too alone. You shined because you had to. You stood tall because something inside you believed that if you crumbled, everything else might fall with you. And yet no one ever asked how much that strength cost you. The Ace of Cups opening your reading is not just about love entering your life, it is about a long-awaited release. A spiritual exhale. A moment where the emotions you've pushed down, hidden, managed, and masked begin to surface not as breakdown, but as breakthrough. The cup overflows, yes, but not with sorrow. With tenderness. With recognition. With the kind of tears that rise up when a wound finally meets warmth instead of pressure. Alongside it, the Nine of Wands speaks volumes. It holds the image of a warrior bruised, weathered, eyes still burning. That's you, isn't it? The one who keeps standing. The one who's tired but never taps out. You've guarded your hope like a flame in the storm, and it's taken everything you had not to let that light go out. But what happens when we live in defense for too long? What happens when the armor we wear to survive becomes too tight to breathe in? We forget softness. We forget receiving. We forget that being held is just as noble as holding it all together. That's where the Ten of Wands reversed brings its quiet miracle. This card, in its upside-down grace, asks you to put it down now. Lay the weight down. Not because you've failed but because you don't have to carry it anymore. The path ahead doesn't require that same survival mode. It asks something else of you now: presence. Allowance. Trust. There's a teaching simple, but profound, that the greatest act of strength is not clenching your fists, but opening your hands. And Leo, what a gift it would be to give yourself permission to open. To no longer walk as if love is something you must earn through effort or endurance. To no longer see rest as weakness. To no longer apologize for needing tenderness. You were never meant to carry every burden alone. Just as a tree does not carry the weight of every falling leaf, you too are allowed to let go. And letting go, contrary to what you've believed, doesn't make you weak, it makes you free. The pressure you've lived under has shaped you, yes. But it doesn't have to define you. There is life beyond the tension. So breathe with me now, just once. Inhale, imagine light filling every place that once felt heavy. Exhale, release the stories, the pressure, the shoulds. And feel what it's like, even for a moment, to be met with ease. If you'd like, take a few minutes after this video to sit in stillness with your heart. Write just one sentence: I forgive myself for carrying too much for too long. Then see what comes next. Because Leo, being seen truly seen is the beginning of real healing. And those tears that may be rising, they aren't weakness. They're water returning to the roots. They're life beginning again. You don't need to keep proving your worth through suffering. You don't need to be strong every second just to feel loved. You already are. And finally, the world around you is catching up to that truth. So if this part resonates, if you felt even a flicker of "this is me," don't let it pass silently. Write something in the comments, say, "I'm releasing," or "I'm ready to rest." Let this be your moment to show up not just strong, but whole. We're listening. And more importantly, your soul has been listening all along. Love, for Leo, is never shallow. It's never casual. It's fire or nothing. It's presence or silence. And in this season of change, the cards whisper not of surface affection but of soul recognition. When we arrive at this part of your reading, the energy softens but deepens. If the first wave was about release, this one is about return. The Two of Cups opens this chapter like a quiet conversation in the dark, a moment when two energies lock eyes, not because they need each other, but because they recognize each other. This is not the start of something brand new, but the remembering of something timeless. Whether it's someone entering your life for the first time, or someone returning after distance or delay, what matters is the frequency. This is not a connection of convenience, it's resonance. Love, at this level, isn't something you chase. It's something you meet. And sometimes, what you meet reflects where your heart has healed or hasn't yet. That's why this is also a moment of deep honesty. Can you allow someone to see your whole self without shrinking? Can you receive devotion without feeling the need to earn it? The Four of Wands expands this emotional thread. It speaks not only of union, but of homecoming. For some of you, this may literally mean moving in together, starting a family, or building something sacred with someone who wants to walk beside you, not ahead or behind. For others, it means finally finding peace in a family dynamic that once felt impossible to navigate. The structure of your heart, once scattered by old wounds, is being rebuilt with celebration instead of survival. And joy becomes the foundation. But joy, as we often forget, requires courage. It asks us to receive, not just to give. In that way, joy is a form of surrender. Like placing a candle on your altar and trusting that the flame will hold. The white candle you may choose to light during this chapter isn't for drama or ritual, it's a simple act of alignment. It's a symbol that says, I no longer block what is good. I welcome what is kind. I open my door to love that feels like breath, not battle. Then comes the La Versa card, too often misread as pure romance. But you and I know, Leo, that the truest form of love begins within. This card, above all, is about choice. It reminds us that love is not something we stumble into, it's something we choose every day, in the way we listen, in the way we forgive, in the way we stay open even after the heart has broken. And in the same way that breath enters the body not because we force it, but because we allow it, love, too, must be allowed. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, who in your life feels like home? Who challenges you to grow while holding space for your vulnerability? And equally important, who have you closed your heart to, not because they were wrong but because the pain made you build walls? If a name rises to the surface now, write it in the comments. Not to force an outcome. Not to chase or cling. But as an act of energetic Clarissa way of saying, I see what's been unfinished, and I'm willing to make peace with it, in my own time, in my own way. There is a quiet strength in doing this. It's the same strength found in still waters and open windows. In traditions of mindfulness, this is the moment when the self softens enough to feel interconnected again, not because everything is perfect, but because resistance has been set down. So let this part of your journey be an invitation, not a demand. Let it remind you that love begins not with another person but with the decision to stay present with your own heart. And when your heart is ready, the right people always know how to find their way back to you. After tending to the garden of the heart, we now arrive at the field of your efforts, the tangible world of work, money, and creation. And here, Leo, the landscape is shifting. Slowly at first, like soil warming after a long winter, and then all at once, with the fullness of harvest rising to meet your hands. The Empress appears first, and her presence is no accident. She is abundance, yes, but more than that, she is the embodiment of natural timing. She does not rush the seed, nor does she force the fruit. She nourishes. She trusts. She waits with grace and then receives. This is where you are now. You're not chasing opportunity, you're becoming fertile ground for it. And that shift, subtle as it may seem, changes everything. Because abundance doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to readiness. For years, you've poured your time, energy, and integrity into what often felt like invisible work, tasks that went unacknowledged, ideas that fell flat, loyalty that was met with silence. But now, that energy is circling back. And what returns is not random. It's earned. It's exact. It's the kind of reward that arrives only after you've done the inner work of staying true even when no one is watching. The Page of Pentacles confirms this, bringing with it news of an offer, a shift, a door creaking open in the realm of finances or career. It may come quietly, wrapped in a conversation or a small yes, but its roots run deep. What starts as something simple may evolve into something profoundly stable. It could be a new job, a fresh proposal, an invitation to create, or even an unexpected financial gift. Whatever form it takes, trust that it's the result of who you've become, not just what you've done. There's a quiet lesson echoed in ancient wisdom here. When you align your actions with presence rather than attachment, effort becomes effortless. The goal is no longer to force an outcome, but to work in such a way that the work itself becomes its own form of fulfillment. That's the energy of the Eight of Pentacles, a card that honors the artisan, the learner, the one who refines with humility and patience. It says, keep shaping your craft, keep building the bridge between purpose and precision. You're not just making money, you're making meaning. You're not just earning a title, you're earning your own self-respect. In practical terms, this is a beautiful moment to commit gently but clearly to your own expansion. Set a small, intentional rhythm, 3 days, 3 actions. Reach out to someone you admire. Propose a collaboration. Share something you've created, even if you feel it's not ready. Let momentum find you where you are, not where you think you should be. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Energetically, the color lemon yellow can support this cycle. Light carries the vibration of clarity, confidence, and fresh possibility. It's the color of ideas taking form and paths becoming visible. Surround yourself with it in subtle ways: a candle, a shirt, a notebook. Let it remind you that you are already glowing in places you used to hide. Numerologically, the energy of 6 resonates now, a number that balances material gain with emotional stability. It teaches that wealth without inner harmony is a hollow victory. But when responsibility is shared with care, and when success is aligned with service, what you build becomes sustainable. Not just for you, but for those around you. In this, you are not only making a living, you are shaping a legacy. So take a breath and let this truth settle. What is coming is not luck, it's the moment where preparation meets divine timing. You've done the work. You've kept the promise. Now, Leo, let the reward come to you. After walking through the terrain of release, love, and purpose, we now enter the still, shimmering waters of inner knowing, a place not built on action but on awareness. Here, Leo, something ancient in you is waking up. Not as noise or urgency, but as a soft clarity, as if a fog you didn't know you were living in has quietly begun to lift. This part of your journey is not about achieving more. It's about remembering what's already within. The High Priestess appears not as a teacher who speaks, but as one who listens. She holds silence like a sacred vessel, inviting you to return to what you already know but may have forgotten. Her presence signals a time when the answers you seek won't come through effort, but through alignment. When you slow down, even just enough to feel your breath fully again, you begin to hear the messages that have always been waiting for you beneath the surface noise, behind the plans, below the striving. There is a concept in contemplative traditions that describes truth as something you uncover, not invent. Much like a jewel buried beneath layers of dust, your intuition is not something you gain, it's something you clear space for. And when that space opens, awareness floods in like sunlight on water. You begin to notice more, the way certain moments echo, the way a dream lingers with meaning, the way your body reacts before your mind has time to catch up. These are not coincidences. They are markers. They are signs. With the magician beside her, the story deepens. While the High Priestess reminds you that wisdom is found in stillness, the magician invites you to shape that wisdom into form. He is the bridge between idea and reality, between intention and manifestation. But here's what's often misunderstood about his power: it doesn't come from tricks or tools. It comes from presence. The more fully you inhabit who you are, the less you perform, and the more you align, the more magnetic you become. Not because you're trying to attract, but because you are becoming undeniable. This balance of stillness and action, of receptivity and expression, leads us to the star, perhaps the most hopeful of all cards. The star appears when something in you has endured a dark night and is finally stepping into light, not the blinding light of ego or performance, but the quiet light of authenticity. It is the kind of light that doesn't shout, but shines. The star does not demand attention, it offers guidance. And now, Leo, you are being asked to become both student and embodiment of that light. To live in harmony with this energy, consider this gentle practice. Each morning, before the day begins, write the words, "I have always been guided and I trust it now," 3 times. Don't analyze. Don't expect. Just let the words become a rhythm that leads you inward. Over time, this quiet ritual begins to shift something subtle in your field. You stop seeking so frantically and begin allowing. You stop doubting and begin observing. You begin to live from the inside out. For the next 21 days, pay attention to your dreams. Keep a small notebook by your bed. Upon waking, write down anything that lingers, even if it seems meaningless. Often, clarity comes not in the moment, but in the patterns. And what seems like random pieces may later reveal a message stitched together by timing only the deeper self could orchestrate. This part of your unfolding is not about becoming someone new. It's about coming home to yourself in a deeper, quieter way. The voice within you, so often drowned out by the noise of survival, is speaking again. You don't have to chase it. Just stop, breathe, and listen. You've been guided all along. And now, you're finally ready to hear it. When a cycle closes, another always begins, but sometimes, there's a rare moment in between. A pause, so subtle it might feel like a breath. And in that breath, everything can change. Leo, that's where you are now. Not at the beginning, not at the end, but standing precisely in the doorway between who you've been and who you're ready to become. The wheel of fortune speaks first, not with a shout, but a turning. Life, in its quiet wisdom, is rearranging things on your behalf but not without your presence. The wheel moves, yes, but not randomly. It turns in response to rhythm, intention, and readiness. That's why this isn't just a lucky streak, it's a moment of alignment. And in the same way that a seed opens only when the conditions are right, your own breakthrough is preparing to unfold. But the question is, are you willing to meet it halfway? This is where the beauty of 21 days comes in. 21 days is not just a cycle of habit. It's a cycle of consciousness. In teachings passed down through quiet tradition, it is said that transformation isn't sparked by force, it blooms through consistency, presence, and willingness. A small act repeated with awareness becomes a doorway. You don't need to leap into a new life. You only need to walk into it, one conscious step at a time. And if you choose to, the Six of Wands stands waiting. This is the energy of recognition, not the kind that screams for attention, but the kind that says, you've walked through enough. It's time for others to see the strength you didn't think anyone noticed. Whether it's in your career, your healing, or even within your family, the glow that's been quietly building inside you is now starting to shine outward. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're finally not hiding anymore. Victory, in this space, is less about applause and more about alignment. You'll know you're stepping into this energy not when the world cheers, but when your own spirit stops resisting. When your days feel lighter. When your choices feel clearer. When your body no longer flinches at the thought of being seen. That's how real success feels. It doesn't arrive with noise. It arrives with peace. Then comes the Nine of Cups, a card of fulfillment so personal it almost feels private. This is about your inner wishes, the ones you rarely speak aloud. It's about the quiet desires, the ones that linger long after the world goes to sleep. The Nine of Cups doesn't promise excess, it promises enough. Enough love to soften your edges. Enough joy to remember how to laugh. Enough stability to let your nervous system rest. But the most important truth of this phase is this: you must initiate it. The cards may reveal potential, but your energy activates the path. Without your yes, the door remains closed, not as punishment, but as principle. Life does not push. It invites. So Leo, in these next 21 days, consider what you are ready to shift, not by chasing, but by choosing. Wake up each morning and ask, gently but clearly, what part of me is ready to live more fully today? Let the answer guide your next small step. And right now, if you feel called, speak it into the space we've created together here. What area of your life are you most ready to transform? Love? Money? Health? Family? Comment below and claim it. Not as a wish, but as a declaration. When you give voice to your intention, you help give it form. Because what's coming for you is not an accident, it's an echo of every choice you've made in quiet strength. Now, the world is simply catching up to your readiness. So take this time. Take your place. And take the first step into what was already meant for you. Leo, for so long, you've equated strength with solitude. As if being the one who carries it all, who never crumbles, who always smiles even when the fire inside burns low, somehow made you more worthy. Perhaps you've even believed that if you didn't hold the world on your shoulders, it might fall apart. But what if I told you that true strength isn't about carrying it all, it's about knowing when to finally set it down? You've walked through 5 sacred thresholds in this journey, each one peeling back a layer, revealing a softer, deeper, truer version of yourself. From the weight of unspoken pain that longed to be seen, to the magnetic pull of love finding its way back to your heart, from financial renewal and purposeful creation, to the awakening of your intuitive brilliance, and finally, to this powerful turning point, the invitation to begin again. And now, standing here with everything the universe has shown you, the most important realization arises: you never needed to prove your worth. Not to the world. Not to anyone. Not even to yourself. Because your strength was never in the armor, it was in your light. And that light was never meant to be hidden under expectations, perfection, or pressure. It was meant to lead. So I want you to pause and ask yourself gently, have I been strong out of love, or strong out of fear? Have I made space for my own healing, or only been the space for others? And more importantly, am I finally ready to live from a place of fullness, not survival? You see, Leo, your journey isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you are when you no longer have to fight for it. The moment you release the need to be everything to everyone, you become everything you were always meant to before you. And in doing so, you give others silent permission to do the same. That's how a true leader heals, through presence, not pressure. This isn't the end of your story. It's the moment between pages, when the ink dries before the new chapter begins. And what you write next is entirely yours. No external circumstance, no other person, no past regret has the right to hold that pen but you. So let this be the moment where your "I have to" becomes "I choose to." Let your decisions flow from a place of softness, not scarcity. Let your goals be guided by joy, not just duty. You are not here to fight your way to the top. You are here to rise because your soul has roots. Because you have already survived the storm and are now learning to bloom in the sunlight. And if anything in you is whispering, "I'm ready," then speak it aloud. Don't keep your transformation private. Claim it. Type "I'm ready" in the comments so that the universe, this community, and even your own subconscious hears you. Let your words become a seed planted in this shared sacred space. And if you felt held, seen, or supported by this message, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and share it with someone whose heart might be quietly waiting for a message just like this. Every act of engagement isn't just an algorithm boost, it's an energetic yes. A ripple of awakening. Thank you, from my heart, for your presence here. For your time. For your courage. You don't walk this path alone, even when it feels like it. And you don't have to be strong because you're afraid to fall. You can be strong now simply because it's safe to stand as yourself. So Leo, as you step into this next chapter, what are you choosing not to carry anymore? What part of you are you finally ready to welcome home? Your answers, as always, are waiting in the space between your breath and your willingness. And trust me, we're never just watching this video. You were being called.